And when the earthquake hit, it was just so devastating to me that I really felt like I wanted to go down there. And I wanted to be, I felt like I was just led to go down to Haiti at the time. So I put my name on the Red Cross website and the Nurses Disaster Relief websites and a variety of the larger organizations. And I also just kind of put it out there in the universe that I was interested in going to Haiti. And I sing in a women's chorus, the Boulder women's chorus named Resonance. And there is a woman that used to sing with us that also sings in a variety of different areas in Denver, and a person that plays the piano for her is a Haitian immigrant, and his parents are both physicians in Léogâne.
Okay.
And he put it out there that he wanted medical supplies, and my friend Nikita forwarded me the email, and I said, well, I can't get medical supplies, but I'm a nurse and I'm ready to go. I have 32 years experience and I would love to join you. And that's kind of how the whole team got together. It was an ad hoc team of a total of 14 of us. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful group to travel with. Jadelle Charles, the one that got us all together, was our logistical person. And when he talked with me, we were leaving in less than 24 hours. Okay. So he got the ticket, which I thought was just remarkable that he would, on faith, just spend $1,000 of his own money to buy a ticket for someone he'd never met before.
Wow.
And that's kind of how it happened with everyone. And his father and mother, the physicians in Haiti, were going to secure us some travel from the Haitian border into Léogâne. And then we flew down to Santo Domingo. And as it turned out, we had over 120 boxes of medical supplies. Some of them the big garbage cans that are just filled with medical supplies. And Delta Airlines just said, put them on the plane. They didn't give us any hassle at all.
Wow.
But it was pretty challenging for 14 people to have 120 boxes of stuff.
Yeah.
So when we arrived in Santo Domingo with all of our supplies, we had hired a big old tour bus that rock and roll singers use, and it couldn't fit all of the supplies and us. So we sent our supplies onward, and then a benefactor from Colorado Springs chartered a small two-prop aircraft to bring us from an airport in the Dominican Republic into Port-au-Prince. Well, when we first arrived into Port-au-Prince and we were circling in this little two-prop plane, I was amazed at how we were looking down at a city of 2 million and there were no lights in the city at all. You could see some fires burning, but that was it. And we had a very bumpy landing, and we ended up landing in a field because the airstrip was pretty much destroyed from what I later gathered. And then we were escorted very quickly by a bunch of Marines into SUVs, and they shuttled us inside the Port-au-Prince airport. And there we were met with what would be the typical scene in Haiti. It was very dark. There was water and sewage kind of all over the floors in the airport. Nothing was open. There were power lines down, and there was very little electricity, and it smelled terrible. So we stayed in the Port-au-Prince airport for a while until we were met with by another bus, and then we were escorted to our bus. And when we went outside of the Port-au-Prince airport, as I said, it was dark out, and there were just mobs of people behind a fence, just all shouting and saying, help us, and all Marines and UN peacekeepers, variety of different uniforms that I didn't recognize, were kind of keeping everyone that was landing in a safe, neutral zone until they escorted us out. And then when we went through the streets of Port-au-Prince, it was just pandemonium and chaos. Again, it was dark.
This is night.
Yeah, it was dark, and the bus, being one of those, another big old tour bus, it was amazing how it could fit on the streets, because at best they're 2-lane highways, and there's people in makeshift tents along both sides of the street and in the median So when we were just driving, it looked like we were driving through throngs of humanity. And when the bus would have to stop, when it would hit a divot in the road, or the road was just splayed open about 5 or 6 inches and totally irregular, when the big old bus would slow down, everybody would put their hands on the bus and tap the bus and ask for help. It was not, it was scary just because of the amount of people there, but I never, at that time, I never felt fear for our group. The following morning when we awoke is when we first saw our surroundings, and we were about 15 feet from the tent villages that had sprung up on the roads, and there were probably at least 5 Haitians per little one-room shack, and the shacks were just wood or metal or anything that they could find with a bunch of sheets over them or blankets, a few tarps. A few of our blue tarps that you see in the hurricane areas. So we saw all those, and the racket at night in Haiti is one that I'll always remember, because when the sun goes down is when people are finally cooled off and a little bit more awake, and they would all be chattering just like every family does around the world, and kids would be crying and dogs would be barking, and as it got quiet at night, the noise slowed down about 2:30 in the evening or in the morning. And then the roosters would start, and they would cock-a-doodle-doo, and each one of them would go, and it was almost like it was stereophonic cock-a-doodle-doos, and the dogs would start barking. So you'd finally get to sleep for about 2 hours, and then prayer service would begin. And they had prayer parades going down the streets. And there were a couple of ministers, because all of these people were transported from different areas. So there were some family members that knew each other, but primarily it was strangers living side by side with each other. So there were some different preachers, and you would hear everybody singing, and they would just walk through the tent village saying, "Alleluia," and singing. And that's how we woke up every morning.
10 or 11 days?
11 days.
Okay.
We got there 11 days after the earthquake.
So what were you still seeing a lot of orthopedic injuries at that point?
We had some wonderful orthopedic surgeons that were with us. You interviewed, yes, Dr. Hammerberg, and then there was a trauma orthopod from New Jersey, as well as a foot and ankle orthopod from New Jersey, and they set up the operating rooms and just got going the moment we started seeing patients. And they did between 15 and 20 operations a day. We had an anesthesiologist and a nurse anesthetist were also with us from Iowa. And they were able to sedate the patients.